Hey everyone, welcome to WittCode. In this video, I'm going to show you how to handle assets such as images, icons, fonts, things like that with Webpack. So Webpack allows us to bundle up assets. Even better, Webpack has built-in asset modules that allow us to handle assets. In other words, we no longer need to install or configure additional loaders. So to demonstrate this, what I have right here is a Webpack configuration that lets us handle JPEG images. Setting this type key right here to asset-resource tells Webpack to emit a separate file and export the URL for that asset, which in this case is any file that ends in .jpeg. So this is better demonstrated with an example. So what I have here is an index.js file, and inside here I'm just going to import a JPEG. So inside this folder called images, we have this code.jpeg, and let's import it. And then I'm also going to log it out to the console like this. So if I were to do npm run build, which inside we got an error in npm run build, it's .cjs. So if we run npm run build, what we get outputted here is an HTML file, our bundled JavaScript, and also our image. Now if we open up, say this with live server, and we check the console, we can see what's logged is, let me copy this, what's logged right here is the location of this asset, which of course is whatever server we're running this on, and then dist because of our distribution folder, and then the name of the image. So when Webpack bundles this JavaScript file, it adds the JPEG to the bundle with a randomly generated name. So this randomly generated name is some kind of hash right here. So this is one way to handle assets. Another way is instead of exporting a URL, we can export a data URI, and we can do this by setting, instead of this to asset-resource, if you set it to asset.inline, now when we run this, let me run this again, what we get logged to the console instead of this right here, so instead of that file or that URL, we get logged the data URI. So we can see data image, JPEG, and then all the base64 encoded data. So we can see how changing the type right here determines how these assets are handled. Another way we can do this is export the asset as its raw code. And we can do this by setting the type to be asset-source. So let's change this rules key now. So now we're going to handle JPEG images as a resource, but text files as a source. And so of course now we'll handle .text files or text files as its raw code. So to demonstrate, let's create at the top level, let's create a text file, and we'll call it witscepter.txt, which is the name of my Chrome extension, if you're curious. And what I'm going to do is just paste in down the witscepter, the best Chrome extension. And now inside our index.js file, so inside this, let's change this to import this text file, and then we'll log it out. And if we run this build again, I did -assets when it's just at the top level. So let's try running this one more time. We can see what we get logged out is download witscepter, the best Chrome extension. So because we set for text files to be asset-source, it's just going to print out the raw contents or the raw code. And now the final thing I just want to mention is that Webpack also allows us to customize things like the name of the asset. So as we saw previously with our asset-resource, when we were doing this, we got a random name right here. And this is because by default, Webpack emits assets using this following substitution, which is hash, the extension, and then the query. So here's the hash, then we have the extension, but we didn't have a query in this instance. But we can change this, so we can change this default behavior by setting something in our configuration file called the asset module file name. And let's change this to be -images, and then we'll do name and then extension. So instead of using a hash, we'll just use some substitution for the name and extension. And now if we run this, we are getting printed out instead of that hash. What we get printed out is the name, which is just code.jpg. And if we look at our distribution folder, we can see we have, this is because this stuff is still here because we didn't clean it out. But now we have inside an images directory, our file or asset code.jpg. So this is all I wanted to show you on handling assets with Webpack. I want to thank you for liking and subscribing. If you have any questions, leave them for me in the comments. I'll try and get back to you. But besides that, Have a good one. See you in the next one.